the Political Party Funding Act will come into effect on the 1st of April. Now, early in 2020, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed the bill into law, but had to shelve the proclamation date until this past Friday. Now, the draft process started under the Zuma presidency. To find out how the Independent Electoral Commission of South Africa plans to manage the process, we are joined now by the Chief Electoral Officer, Sy Mamabolo. Mr. Mamabolo, thank you very much for your time. And first time I speak to you this year, so Happy New Year to you. First and foremost, how is this going to work now that it is going to officially come into operation on the 1st of April?
Well, the Commission welcomes the determination of the commencement date by the President. And the Commission believes that this development inaugurates a new era of transparency, increasing the transparency envelope, so to speak, within our electoral democratic system. And ultimately, this should lead to the overall enrichment of the democratic experience of people in the country. It's an act of constitutionalism, in our view, and an important one to the extent that it will give people even greater transparency and so as to allow them to make informed choices when election time comes. Now, as to how we intend to implement this, we have already built an IT application which political parties will use for disclosure purposes, as well as corporates and donors. We've trained a lot of political parties, certainly those that participate in the National Party Liaison Committee and those that are participating at provincial level. And we'll continue that training ahead of the commencement date of 1st April. We believe that this application will make the processes easier, quicker, and we're using technology which makes things transparent and quicker.
Talk to us about the main issue here, Mr. Mamabolo, and that is that of the amount of money that ought to be disclosed by political parties once they exceed a certain amount. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, certainly the Parliament has set 100,000 rands as the threshold from which donations must be disclosed. So anything above 100,000 rands has to be disclosed by both the party, in other words, the receiving party, as well as the donor.
How do you enforce that?
Secondly, there's a 15...
Sorry,
no, look,
I interrupted.
There's an enforcement section.
Yes.
Yeah, there's an enforcement section in the Act where the Commission may issue compliance notices and so on. But should there be repeated transgressions, the Electoral Court can be approached to issue appropriate sanctions. In other words, the IC is not going to be the policeman, judge, and prosecutor in the same process. Ours is to administer the Act and ensure that there's compliance and issue administrative notices for compliance in the event a party does not comply. And in cases of repeated transgression, the judiciary, in this case, the Electoral Court, can intervene when approached.
Talk to us about external party funding. This is now these are now donations made to political parties by foreign bodies, if you like. Is that going to still be allowed, or is that now going to be prohibited? If not, how will it be policed?
The The Act provides for certain prohibited donations, amongst others, donations from state bodies, state-owned enterprises, foreign governments, as you say in your question, except if funding from foreign government is related to training and development, research, those types of things. Such funding can be received. As well as proceeds from crime are also outlawed. So how are we going to police this? You're going to be working with other agencies that already have that mandate in society, be it the SARS, the MPA, Fiscal and Financial Commission, and all those types of institutions. We're going to have to collaborate with them, certainly with the banks and so on, to ensure that funding that comes the way of parties is strictly in line with the provisions of the Act.
All right. Ntate Mamabolo, we are out of time, but let me squeeze this in. A decision yet on whether or not we're going to go ahead with local government elections this year?
Well, the Commission at the moment is working on the basis that an election will happen in terms of the constitutional time frame. And in terms of that, the current term of office expires at the beginning of August. An election must be held within 90 days of that expiry, taking us to the beginning of November. That's the basis upon which we are currently functioning.
Sy Mamabolo, the Chief Electoral Officer at the IEC. Thank you very much for the clarity around the Political Party Funding Act. It's going to be operational from the 1st of April this year.